All right, so speaking of screw Disney, we're going to move on to something to do with Marvel Comics, which is owned by Disney. So it says, Marvel facing backlash for Miles Morales Thor comic featuring racist stereotypes. And by this, what they mean is like, this is kind of the same thing, where it's like whoever's like judging it doesn't like the what they're seeing, so that therefore it's bad, therefore it's a stereotype. So it says, a new Marvel comic which reimagines what would have happened. If you guys don't know what If is, What If is a comic series from Marvel which basically takes like alternate universe theories of like, imagine if Spider-Man, who's played by the character's name is Miles Morales, what if he had become Thor rather than Spider-Man, which has
I thought it was Peter Parker.
There's another version of Spider-Man called Miles Morales.
Who even knew?
A lot of actually
blowing your mind right now.
No, he's actually a rare example where like when they did all new Marvel, basically he's like the one character that actually came out and became generally loved by the public, whereas most of the new Marvel characters all ended up being really, really disliked. Jane Foster's Thor is an example of something that came out with all new Marvel that nobody really liked seeing Jane Foster as Thor, because that's not really the purpose of her character. So this is actually
I have to say it.
This is a rare example of when this character's actually liked by the general public, which is why some of this
when there were
backlash
racist
makes
stereotypes.
No,
Before they ruined it.
Brian Michael Bendis created Miles Morales in 2011. This is recent. So it says, a new Marvel comic which reimagines what would have happened if Miles Morales became Thor instead of Spider-Man has received a huge backlash online for its stereotypical depiction of a black neighborhood. From what I can understand, what they mean by this is literally that there's graffiti, I guess, and it's in Brooklyn, which means that's stereotypical. Thank you.
It's just weird that, like, you see graffiti and you see a city and you're like, it's a black neighborhood.
Wait.
Like,
is it fancy graffiti that they paid a hipster artist with an Instagram tag to put up? Because that's like a whole different thing.
So it says...
I think that's on them for thinking that
That's a
graffiti
different
is
section
only
of Brooklyn.
with the hoodlum.
Exactly. The comic, written by Yehudi Mercado and art by Luigi Zagaria, is part of the Marvel's upcoming 60th anniversary celebration of Spider-Man. Morales is an alternative Spider-Man from the Ultimate Universe that has been brought into the regular Marvel continuity. He might be best known to many as the central character of 2018's Enter the Spider-Verse movie, a very, very good, one of the rare examples of a good Marvel animated film.
This Spider-Man is black?
He's Afro-Latino.
Oh.
Yeah.
Supposed to be like part Puerto Rican, you said?
Yeah. Yep. So it says, in this new What If series, Marvel's exploring what would happen if Morales didn't have the powers of Spider-Man, but also they gave him the powers of Wolverine, Captain America, and Hulk, and then in the latest issue, it's what would have happened if he'd become Thor, God of Thunder. So then you go down here and you see there's the picture, guys. You can see so it's Thor
when
by
I saw this tweet, I was like, wait, but what's the problem?
The first picture's dope. Like
the
art
cover of it
good.
is fine.
Is that like what bridge is that? Is that the
Brooklyn Bridge?
Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, so it's him on the Brooklyn Bridge, and now it's once you get into some of the dialogue that it is really cringy and bad. Like there's a lot of really awful lines.
Like
but
what? Say them out loud for me. I want to know what they are.
Okay, one of them is he's holding Mjolnir.
Yeah. Yep.
And he just says hammer time. That's a tasteful one we can say.
I feel like that's copyright infringement. Yeah.
Maybe.
It's great. So it says, of all the five realms Asgard is his hood. For Miles, you can see he's just that good. It's like it's not good. It's not necessarily good story.
I don't know why they wrote it in like a childish Dr. Seuss type cadence.
Good Marvel
Maybe
comics
it's supposed to be rap.
Have been few and far in between for a long time, so that's nothing new. The Rainbow Bridge takes him to his quest.
That's how he summons his hammer, though?
The Bifrost line goes north, south, east, and west. The writing is really bad. Like, I would say...
That's not rap.
They should be more ashamed of the writing than they should of the art here. So it says... But he is low-key when he wants to be. Name on the marquees like his Uncle Loki. It's really bad, guys.
What?
I can't even say that without laughing. Basically, Chief O'Brien here is not happy with what he's seeing. And they've got the art here, so these other people... So I thought the cover was actually pretty good. And generally, they're just pushing back and saying his line, Asgard is the hood, and the line, by Odin's fade, which I don't actually know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know if fade is literally in reference to his haircut.
Yeah, don't they normally say Odin's beard?
Yeah.
So this would be a reference to like...
Yeah. So
but to be fair, like... are fades exclusive to the African American community?
That's what I'm saying. It's projection.
I've definitely heard a lot of men tell me, "Oh yeah, I have this kind of fade."
Graffiti Thor, so is Hammer having the graffiti on it. I thought aesthetically looked pretty good. It says, "Why is Miles Morales' publication history filled with so much insensitive garbage? I'm baffled." His comic is so well loved though by people. Or his character is so well loved by people. That's funny.
Do the other versions of this, where he's like Spider-Man or whatever, get this kind of backlash?
No, and far more.
Did his character in Spider-Man also speak this way?
In the comics, he always came off more intelligent. Like, it didn't come off this way to me. But I've only read, like I said, I'm not a Marvel dude. I haven't been Marvel for a lot of years. But in general, I didn't see what the big issue here was, other than the writing. They kept pointing out to the fact that the neighborhood looked a certain way, right? Or the graffiti. I thought the writing was far more egregious.
Yeah, the art looks, I think, perfect. Made him look cool, but then the dialogue just kind of makes him seem like an idiot.
And then also the where is it here? I thought it was funny because I was looking up and like, don't a lot of like, isn't graffiti like a huge like part of Brooklyn, of like New York culture in general? You can go on like graffiti tours in New York City and actually go and like look for the best graffiti there. So I thought that was interesting that they see it as a bad thing when people from New York would see it as a positive.
So his character is from New York.
Yes.
From
from
Brooklyn specifically. And this is part of his backstory already.
Yes.
That I see is like totally excusable and makes total sense.
It just seemed like the author was trying to find a way to wrap the two characters together in a way that made sense. Like the character of Thor and the character of Miles Morales.
The whole point, it seems like the whole point of the what if thing is that it doesn't make sense. They're just doing it for like amusement's sake.
Yeah, it's not canonical. It's often its own little world.
And they're always based in New York, like
his character's as far as I know, like from the Bendis run it was. So I just thought this was kind of ridiculous. And the other thing that's funny is like the author, Yehudi Mikado, like from what I saw, he is everything that they love. Like all his posts are like F Donald Trump still, Joe Biden's
also,
so great.
Not to like stereotype here. Also Afro-Latino?
He's it says he was Mexican and Jewish. Because he listed it literally in his Twitter bio.
Interesting.
But if you're not exactly the same identity as the character that you're writing about,
and that's his
you're a bad person.
And the pushback here, they said, why are there no black people working at Marvel? And I said,
there almost certainly are.
Not a one. They checked. They called HR to tell me specifically.
They called and checked, and they were like, nope. We don't employ black people at Marvel.
Yep. We have a policy against it.
So it just makes no sense. And then beyond that, we also have the story of there's a fan film being made called Spider-Man Lotus, which is in hot water right now, as they say, for the star of the movie. Basically, his name's Warden Wayne. Is that an actual name? Warden doesn't sound like a real name.
It's his real name.
That's
you can make anything a real name.
His name.
Ask any of the Kardashians.
His name is Warden Wayne, and he got caught saying very naughty things on Instagram, like
which we will not be repeating.
We will not be repeating. But it says Spider-Man Lotus, which, by the way, guys,
immediately I'm like, what are they?
Guys,
what did he say?
When this is done, go and watch the trailer for Spider-Man Lotus. For the fact that it's a fan film, meaning that they can't make any profit off this, and you can't crowdfund fan films.
Really?
Yeah, you cannot.
Well, how did they fund this?
The director would have had to fund it himself, like whether he has investors to do it, but he can't make a profit off this movie.
Why can't you crowdfund it?
Is that
illegal?
It's illegal, or at least the studio will copyright. Because how do they, like, a lot of people who make crowdfunded things never deliver? What if you just make the crowdfunding campaign, on the backs of an existing IP and then don't deliver? Then you're basically just taking money.
But Marvel is still the entity making the profit off of it.
I don't know what his I don't know if his if distribution was the point of it, or if he's just going to release it for free on YouTube. But he wouldn't be allowed to make profit off this movie if he wanted to.
Okay.
But the trailer for this film is very, very good. And the actor actually looks like a weird, like in the trailer, I don't know if they did it with makeup. He looks like a weird composite of Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. Like I don't know if that was by design to split the difference. Yeah,
they use
kind of
templates these days.
So basically, it says the makers of Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home said it looks fantastic, so they gave him credit for like, look, your fan film looks great, and expectations were high for its release later this year. Unfortunately, despite its nice appearance, Lotus is now blowing up social media for less pleasant reasons, following allegations that Spider-Man Peter Parker actor Warden Wayne made racist remarks on social media, and I will not show. You can see them if you look in the box there. I'm not going to quote anything there. He said some very derogatory things. They were like, he sounds like a teenager, to be honest.
Well,
like,
he literally said years ago when I was in high school,
but he also said,
say terrible things.
But he also said he didn't have a phone until he was like, he didn't get his first smartphone until he was 18.
Yeah, okay.
He had to sneak around on other people's devices.
Yes.
Yeah, just for clarifying, like, so he does end up releasing this statement, and then he's like, I was homeschooled and I was in a conservative environment in small town Arkansas.
He blames his family.
He blames his family and his old friend group, but not really himself.
He takes no personal responsibility.
I was an immature kid with too much time and no sense of integrity. I was stupid. There was even a time I made an account solely dedicated to hating on Eunice, who is now one of my best friends. I don't know who that is. To be
fair, he's a kid. You're young. You're a kid. He's responding the only way he probably
the thing
knows
is, like,
how.
I just want to point out that like some of this is like some of it is I agree with. Like he's like, look, I have changed over the past 4 years. I grew up. I met different people. I like came to church with some things, and I think that's real. I think people can go through that, but like what he's actually also saying is like, I came from a religious rural part of the country, which is bad and backwards. And I'm willing to throw them out of the window rather than just say like, I didn't know better at the time and I have adjusted since. You know what I mean? Like he is blaming a part of the country that, number one, goes to a lot of Marvel movies, so seems like a bad part of the country to isolate.
Everybody he knew and the culture he grew up in is to blame. I think at some point an apology can be so long-winded that it's just turning into a defense.
Well, it's not really an apology. I mean, some of this is an apology. Some of it is
it's supposed to have all of the appearances of one, but he used this to blame his friend group, his parents, people that he was vaguely associated with for some reason, such as the Duggars,
also,
which is like insane.
It's funny that he's
you want to explain that part? Because I didn't.
The Duggars are the 19 Kids and Counting TLC family. Made a big spectacle of how they're in the, what is it called? The
Quiverful
Baptist fundamentalists.
Yeah, they're
cult.
like a Baptist sect, I guess.
But like, he's just throwing their name out there so that he can
look how bad they
all
are.
of these people together as like
backwards and bad.
Yeah, backwards people.
There was this. She's probably wouldn't like me very much, but like there's a therapist on YouTube who runs a channel, and she occasionally will like review YouTuber apologies or like just like celebrity apologies. So when they like come out with a statement and they're like, oh my gosh, scandal has occurred, very sorry, and she'll like go through like, this is what makes a good apology. She's definitely more like progressive than I think I am, but I think about it regularly. I've watched a couple of her videos because like you want to go through and be like, okay, so you are taking responsibility, but actually you're not taking responsibility. You're saying that it was these other people's fault, and like
because no genuine apology is coerced. Sorry, I have a Sour Patch.
I wouldn't say this is coerced, but I would say that this is like
sweet like a rhubarb pie.
I would say that this is like I know exactly who I can blame for this because I am white and from Arkansas the South or Middle America, and like I am tired of that scapegoat. Speaking of racist stereotypes, like I just don't think that that's true. Partially because like there are tons of people in these areas of the country who are homeschooled, who don't get cell phones before they're 18, who don't talk this way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not actually an excuse. Like, you're just stereotyping, and you're using that to defend.
You're like, I should have gone to public school and had a phone since I was like 10 so that I would learn better. Like, and have unrestricted use of social media.
And in the Northeast or California.
And then I would be a good person. Like
no,
the rest
you
of
probably wouldn't. You probably would be just as awful. In fact, you got caught doing this thing, but I wonder what you're doing now.
It was also strange to me just that he is kind of a nobody. So why does anyone care what he is doing in his private Instagram DMs?
Like, some of these posts have like 11. A lot of these posts have like 11, 12,000
likes and
comments.
Like Twitter isn't real. It's not real. The engagement isn't real and the anger isn't real. It's all disingenuous or bots.
So it says certain individuals have said everybody has their faults. Many individuals don't perceive theirs. And some have said, all joking aside, you're not sorry for being bigoted. You're sorry on the grounds that you got found out. Now, here's my problem with that. Whenever somebody says something like that, say you've said something awful in your life, right? Mm-hmm. Are you supposed to just, and you think you said something on June 23rd, 1995, and you're thinking about it like 10 years later. It's now June 23rd, 2005. You're like, you know what? I've changed. I should really address that thing that I said 10 years ago, just so people know that I'm not saying it because I got caught. I'm saying it because I've actually changed. When does that actually work out? Nobody actually does that.
Yeah, that's why he said, like, I've been thinking about coming forward with this for a long time.
No, he's been thinking about how he's going to get caught for a long time. But that's what happens.
I wasn't going to come forward and draw attention to this thing because on the off chance you guys never found out, I didn't want to already out myself this way. Like, it's a weird standard that I think the internet makes us comply to, which is
it all
like
resurfaces.
It all resurfaces, and we are creating these weird archives. And the internet is forever. I don't know how to say that enough. Like, don't say things on any online platform at any time, no matter how encrypted you think it is, that you do not think you would be willing to answer for in a deposition.
But at the same time, like, why would we expect every teenager to have impeccable behavior on the internet?
Like I said,
it's
I really
believe not of like the importance that anyone is claiming.
I totally agree. I believe like he really could have changed. He really could have been like, oh wait, I don't really like the way that, whatever reckoning he came to. I believe that's real. But again, what he learned was where I grew up was bad, and they taught me to be racist, which I think is a very blanched way of addressing what's actually going on.
Agreed.
And also what probably was attention-seeking behavior as a teenager. Surprise, he's an actor now, so seems like he didn't heal from whatever was going on there.
Fortunately, it seems like he's gotten some positive feedback under that tweet. But at the same time, like, I don't really feel bad for him because it's a disingenuous apology. And also, even if it were a genuine apology, you're unwise for bending the knee to these people anyway, because they don't care about the issue at hand. They just care about feeling like they can boss you around and feeling powerful online.
And I assume that he, like, doing this movie, doing these, like, movies where you're not going to make money, like, he's probably in California, right? He's trying to make it as an actor. And so this getting a lot of attention could potentially be good for him, new agents or whatever the actors are into. But at the same time, like, maybe he feels like giving this big address to this thing now, like, we've cleared him and he's free to move forward with his Hollywood
Which he does not realize that he will not be cleared and you will not be forgiven. It will come back anytime something new comes out.
It doesn't matter. Like, none of this is real. Mary is totally right. Twitter's not real. Hollywood's not real. None of this is real. I just think that, like, it would be more interesting if he had taken a more nuanced approach to this apology, but instead he was like, that's true. I was raised in a conservative religious environment, and that's taught me to be bad.
People underestimate the power of just shutting up and ignoring.
Yep. There was a super chat there.
Yes. Vincent Serrano said, can I send you stickers at Bear Odd Fruit on Instagram? Sure. We don't have a P.O. box anymore, do we? I'm sure we'll figure that out eventually, though. So,
but generally, you should do that.
Yeah, we like stickers.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.